Today we're going to be talking about working the Abanico family inside single stick contra sombrata. Let's get started. How do I get ahead of time? How do I exploit my opponent? How do I use the sombrata as a tool, exercise mechanism for live motion? That's the thing that you need to understand about sombrata. Sombrata is not something you just do with your friends and you have fun, all that stuff. That's all great. But when it comes down to it, what these techniques that are used in contra sombrata are movements that help us adapt inside of midro mano range, middle range. Okay, and that is the important part of this thing, is that you are able to use different things to one, defend, two, to attack, three, to deceive, okay, four, to take your opponent off of rhythm, five, to set up the attack so that you are throwing the attacker off and you are able to take their time away and give yourself more time. So I'm saying time a lot because timing is a very important part that brings all of the 12 areas, the 12 staples of combat together, okay? And so when we come in here, we do the basic 5 count that everybody does. Everybody knows it real well. Everybody does it a little different. Sometimes we do it heavier. Sometimes we do it lighter. Sometimes we have a specific goal in hand. And in this case, the goal is going to be to make sure that when we are doing it, that we have certain tools that we are going to focus on. And so previously, a previous video, we talked about Kiot. And so Kiot is one of the things that we're going to do in here. We're also going to be doing Abanico. And so this is just a moment in combat when you're in close range. And don't tell me that people aren't fighting with machetes, because all you got to do is type in YouTube machete fight and you'll see it all over the world, because everybody can grab a hold of a machete. Everybody can grab a hold of a stick of whatever shape, size, flexible batons, those things like that. And so that is a very important part of this whole deal. Being able to understand the difference between impact weapons and edge weapons, very important too. So when I'm in this position and I go, for instance, we're doing what we call the roof. Some people call it roof block. I like to call it roof deflection, because roof deflection gives us a better understanding of not taking on full impact, but deflecting the attack to continue our attack and not take our time away by taking the full amount of energy down on top of me, but instead I'm deflecting it out of the way to move forward and continue my attack. That is something very important. So I've taken block out of my vocabulary and out of my students don't call it that. We try to call it roof deflection, inside deflection, drop deflection, drop stick deflection, those kind of things like that. Low wing deflection, outside low wing deflection, things like that are very important instead of it being a block. So that's a very important little nugget for you, a little diamond. So inside the contra sombrata, we have the roof. He does the inside deflection. I do the drop. He does the inside low wing. I do a shield, and we continue on to the other side, the same exact thing. All right. So this can be done with high levels of pressure, or it can be done lightly, or it can be somewhere in the middle. Or when you're training, you can also bring that tension up and bring that tension down, even just with inside the drill itself, not even with extra attacks inside or anything like that yet. So that's important too. Okay, so when we're doing this, the important part is that where do I do my attacks? And so the first one I'm going to show you is what we call Abanico. Abanico is where we do a fanning motion, okay? And this is part of the Witik family. So for instance, if I go here and I do a roof. The first easiest one would be for me to fan and hit him right here, okay? So all you're gonna do at home is you're gonna practice going one and then fan and go here. If you have a bladed weapon, you'll turn that blade around and catch him either on the tip, or you'll use the side of the blade to catch, okay? And then you also have to think about where the target is going to be as well. So anyways, we go one and pam, just like that, And then you would do it with your part. You do that in the mirror, then you do it with a partner, or you do it in front of a bob. You practice hitting the target properly. Then you get with a partner, and then you practice doing it back and forth, okay? And then you incorporate it into the drill, which is what we're gonna do now. Boom, and then he's gonna, so after I go 1, and I go like that, he's gonna inside deflect, yep, and we'll go here. And so eventually what's gonna happen is he'll be able to also, when I go here, he'll inside deflect that position, and then the second one is gonna be, I'm gonna go on the other side. He'll do an outside deflection, and then we go back into the drill. All right, and this is really great for him too, because he gets used to, and we just do it slow at first, and then you can build up that speed eventually, okay? And he'll learn the timing behind it, okay? And what he's doing is he's learning how to identify the attack. He's learning certain little things that happen inside of the body mechanics that help him know where it's gonna go before it happens. Because if we don't know, if we're not paying attention to the body mechanics when we're training with our partner, we're not gonna be able to identify, there's little tells that you'll get right before the attack, which gives you your ability to be on time or early, or right on time to the party, okay? And that's an important one. So roof, 2 of them, and back into the drill. That's the first one. So the second one's gonna be when I do the inside wing here, I'm gonna catch here, I'm gonna flip, and then all you're gonna do is just practice doing that. So at home, you'll go 1, 2, just like that. And this is called a Kiot, okay? Some people call it Abanico with tick. It is also considered that, but when you do the Kiot, you can also kind of thrust at the end to think of if it's a bladed weapon, just like we were doing with the knife. So you're thrusting with the blade, okay, at the last moment. So then we do it, and you do it with your partner, and you'll practice going here, and you and your partner will practice that over and over and over again. He'll do a nice, and do it at the rhythm that you're comfortable with. And then over time, you'll be able to feel more confident, and then you'll go to the next level, which is to do it inside the 5 count. So we go here. Okay, and so right here, bam, see that? And then I'll after I flick it, then I'll give him the 2. Okay, so all I'm doing is just bam, and then I do the 2. Yep, and he wants to automatically counter it. And so then the next part is where he counters it. So I come here, he counters it, and then we just go right back into the drill. And the way that we can do the drill is this. I come here like this, he flicks it, okay? I come back down low, he does an outside low wing, yep, and he gives me a roof. I'm at 1, and I do a roof, So it's like this, I go here, okay? He thrusts, I come up, I go back down low, and then he gives me a 1. Okay, and so this is another wonderful drill, yep, that we can continue down that rabbit hole. Yep. Okay. And so that's the counter. So the first attack with this is where I go here and I come up. You do it quick enough, he's not gonna be able to get to it. Then he starts to be able to get a little bit better. And one of the best ways for him to counter is to take a step off. Boom. See that? Now the only thing I really want to do here is go like this. So I go like that, and he deals with it. He gets that hand out of the way so he can deal with that attack. And the way that he can deal with that attack is to do more steps. So when you're doing this, you actually are going to be moving more. You want to move more. You don't want to stay stagnant like we're doing. We're just doing that for the film so you can see the details of what we're doing. So inside the thrust, I come here, and then I go here. And see, that time what I did was I pulled it a little bit. So again, I'll do it again. 1, whop, whop. See that? And that's how I would get that next attack. But then he gets better at it, and then we keep going. Okay? And so that is the second one. Now the third one is going to be on the other side. And this one is going to take a little bit more skill. So when I go to do a thrust, okay, like this, he's going to be dealing with that attack. I'm going to come around and come up to the top of the head, just like that. So it'll come in like this, and I'll come up right on the top of the head, just like that. So 1 and 2. See that? 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. If it's a knife or a sword, it would be one and you would go right to the eye or go right to the neck, just like that. See? Boom, just like that. Okay? So with that, when I go like this, he's gonna counter it by doing an outside deflection, okay? And so we practice that. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Okay, the tighter that you get it, but with the right body behind it, see that? That's what you're doing. Boom, just like this. 1 and 2. So that's important. 1 and 2, boom. And so eventually what will happen is you'll just use this as a way to trick them. Boom, and that changes the timing, because what I do is I'll take it to right about here. They're dealing with that attack, and then I come up, bam, and get them. Okay, does that make sense? Hope so. All right, so let's do it inside the sombrata. Yep, and then we back into it. Yep, and then we'll just keep going. Go to the other side. Boom, just like that. Boom. Okay, and one of the indicators would be also that he feels an emptiness. When that thrust goes, and he does it to me, okay, and then I have my own technique that I do that's more advanced, but eventually what's gonna happen is you'll also have things that you'll learn if you stick with me, okay? So we go here, boom, and he counters, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna counter back the other way. And so you notice he's checking my hand. That's one of the indicators. That's why sensitivity exercises are so important. Huba, all those different ones like that, because then I'm gonna come in like this. You see how I did that? I went from this position down like that. And so when he does that, he's gonna have to counter that. And you're gonna do a drop, he's gonna have to do a drop stick, probably the quickest thing for him to do. Boom, see that? And then after that, he's gonna give me a 2, and we go back into the exercise. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Yep, and then he comes in, boom. Yep, I just wanted to make sure. Hop, 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 hop. Okay, so anyways, we'll start that one again. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, yep, punyo the hand. Yep, see, I want to go right to the head. So I want to get more violent when I do this, or more aggressive. So it almost goes into a puño. He almost wanted to do a puño there, which could go into what we call puño sombrata, where he does the puño, he flips it, and then he pulls it, and then we end up going into this type of thing here. Okay. Yep. So here and back into it. Contra sombrata. Whoop, 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 and back in. Yep, good job. So those are the 3 different exercises that you're gonna blend in together to develop that higher level of attacks inside your Contra sombrata. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Go to our website, pinnaclecombatarts.com. There you will find more information about our online courses and how to get started today.